So he's like, I got pushed into that. So I'm like, all right, good job. So I go back to the bus. I studied film like it was my own place. I'm like pausing the TV, pulling up my phone, and I'm like, bro, you didn't get pushed. What are you talking about?
Hey there, race fans. Today, we're diving deep into the heart of NASCAR, exploring the intriguing relationship between two rising stars in the sport, Bubba Wallace and Rajah Caruth. In the fast-paced world of NASCAR, where every turn and every move can make or break a race, mentorship and camaraderie are invaluable assets. From the mentorship of Bubba Wallace to his recent comments about Rajah Caruth, join us as we unravel these layers. Bubba Wallace stands out in the NASCAR Cup Series, not just for his driving skills, but also as the only black driver in the lineup. Drawing motivation from legends like his boss, Michael Jordan, Wallace himself has also emerged as an inspiration for other black drivers looking to make their mark in NASCAR. One such emerging talent is Rajah Caruth, another African-American trying to make it big in the circuit. Both drivers share a great friendship, but recently, after the conclusion of the Truck Series race at the Daytona Speedway, NASCAR Cup Series driver Bubba Wallace had quite an exchange with Rajah Caruth, which involved a wild overtime finish, with Caruth in the thick of the action. Before we dive deep into the action, subscribe to our channel. Bubba had taken it upon himself to lend a hand to Caruth, especially after a recent event where the latter clinched a P3 finish in the Truck Series at Daytona. The recent Truck Series race showcased not only the thrilling action on the track, but also a significant exchange between these two drivers. During the race, Caruth showcased his skills on the track, battling it out for position and navigating through the pack with precision. In the final overtime finish, Caruth in the number 71 Spire Motorsports Chevy was fighting Jack Wood and Taylor Gray for the third position. Caruth got into Wood's truck, who then tagged Gray's number 17 Toyota, which was sent into the barriers and later flipped above two trucks before landing on its wheels. The incident triggered the record 12th caution flag of the race, with most of the field caught up in the wreck. Nick Sanchez won the race at the front of the field, with Rajah Caruth clinching a second-place finish.
Corey Heim in the mix. Ty Majeski is there.
Rajah sideways, hangs onto it. Sanchez will try to work both. Oh, trouble!
And there's a crash. Caution is out. The race is over. Trucks up in the air. Nick Sanchez leading. When the caution flag came out, he is going to bring it back around to the checkers. Nick Sanchez, when he was 5, taken to a race at Homestead, Miami by his uncle. Going to win for the first time in his career at Daytona International Speedway.
Following the conclusion of the race, Bubba Wallace was engaged in a deep conversation with the number 71 Chevy driver on the pit road. As the camera focused on the duo, Wallace dragged the Spire Motorsports driver away from the cameras to a private conversation. But behind the scenes, it was a moment of mentorship, as Wallace shared wisdom with the young Truck Series driver, leaving fans wondering what went down. Later, Rajah Caruth also opened up about his heart-to-heart with mentor Bubba Wallace, reflecting on his unforgettable Daytona showdown. The 21-year-old Spire Motorsports driver opened up about the conversation with his mentor, Bubba Wallace. He also added to the influential role Wallace has played throughout his career.
We were just talking about the last lap, you know, what I did and didn't do, and kind of how he saw it. So, he's been there from the start for my whole career, so it's been awesome to have him on my side the whole way.
From Daytona showdowns to heart-to-heart talks, their bond is a testament to the power of guidance in the racing world. What happened next surprised everyone. When Wallace visited the Door Bumper Clear studio, he talked about the 21-year-old driver and the instance where he was under the impression he'd been nudged into the chaos. Bubba, ever the mentor, stepped up to shed light on the situation in a light-hearted manner on the podcast. Bubba Wallace served up a slice of humble pie to Rajah Caruth after he rode to a career-high third-place finish at Daytona. Caruth was convinced Corey Heim had given him a nudge, which he thought led him to clip Wood's number 91 truck, sparking a major pileup.
Yeah, I kind of hate we didn't get any stage points, but really good night for Nick and I and everybody at Spire Motorsports. Hate to see, trucks tore up like that on the backstretch. I just kind of got a bad push, and you already are getting tight off the corner like that. So hated to see that, but thank you to the Hendrick Automotive Group, HendrickCars.com, everybody at Spire and Team Chevy. So they're the only reason I got a ride this year, and hopefully I can make it count.
Initially, Bubba was on the same page as Caruth until he took a closer look at the race footage. Diving into the details like a detective on a case, Wallace realized things didn't quite add up. He shared his findings in a chat with Dirty Mo Media.
So then when he gets into that deal, it's like, okay, I'm trying to put myself in his shoes. Oh, the top line's moving around me. Top line's moving around me. There's half a hole. Bam, done. You got a mile and a half. I don't even know what the actual distance is from exit turn 2 to start finish line. Mile and a half?
Mile and a half. Yeah.
Sure. Like, bro. So he's like, I got pushed into that. So I'm like, all right, good job. So I go back to the bus. I studied film like it was my own place. I'm like, pausing the TV, pulling up my phone, and I'm like, bro, you didn't get pushed. What are you talking about? He was like, no, I got hooked by Corey. I'm like, Corey's not touching you. He's like, no, the 11, not the 7. And I'm like, oh, different Corey. All right, okay. What are you talking about? No one touched you.
While Wallace's seasoned eyes had taken to reviewing the race footage and spotted that Caruth had not been pushed, he also pointed out where Caruth needed to take responsibility like a true mentor. In a sport historically dominated by a single demographic, Bubba Wallace stands as a beacon of change. Inspired by trailblazers like Bill Lester, he's breaking barriers and paving the way for future generations of diverse drivers.
Yeah, I remember selecting Bill Lester on one of the NASCAR games, and I didn't think about it until maybe a year or two ago. But like how representation mattered, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna race as Bill Lester. I think that's pretty cool. But I've gotten to know Bill over the last handful of years. It's been a little bit since I've talked to him, but he is a massive supporter of mine, so I appreciate him. He understands it, he gets it, and he keeps me motivated for sure.
For somebody like Bubba to see me was big. For somebody like me to see Willie T. Ribbs race when he did, especially in the IndyCar series was big. And needless to say, Willie stood on the shoulders of Wendell Scott, right? So representation absolutely matters. When you can identify with somebody who, you can relate to, it goes a long way. It's the whole reason why Tiger Woods was able to make the impressions that he has made and the impact that he's made in golf. And, Venus and Serena Williams have done what they've done in tennis. It's because, we see somebody who looks like us and we're like, wow, it's now more of an interest to us as opposed to like when I was young and I saw stock cars, NASCAR, running on ABC's Wild World of Sports. It's just a bunch of cars running around in circles, right? It didn't really hit me. But, when you see somebody like, Willie T. Ribbs getting out of his car at the Indy 500, that's big. And I'm sure that when Bubba saw me out there on the NASCAR circuit, that was probably big to him too, and he's pretty much said as much.
But representation isn't just about who's behind the wheel. It's about creating a space where everyone feels welcome, from fans to drivers alike. From his debut at Daytona to a full-time ride with Spire Motorsports, Caruth's journey is also one of perseverance and promise. With mentorship from Bubba Wallace and inspiration from legends like Bill Lester, he's carving out his own path towards success. He can be said to become a rising star in NASCAR with a passion for speed that started on the virtual track of iRacing. As we reflect on the stories of Bubba Wallace and Rajah Caruth, one thing is clear: the future of NASCAR is bright. It was after the race that their relationship truly shone. Despite the intensity of competition, Wallace took the time to mentor Caruth, providing valuable insights and feedback. With mentorship, perseverance, and a commitment to diversity, the possibilities are endless. But moments like these remind us that NASCAR is more than just a sport. It's a community, a family. For more interesting NASCAR stories, hit that like button, subscribe, and share. Until next time, keep the conversation going on Lucky Dog on Track.